So we're going to move on to Media Watch now with James Creedon. Hi there, James.
Hi, Catherine.
Now, we're going to take a close look at various aspects of one of our top stories. We're talking about the migrants at Calais. Lots of them still up there, still trying to get into the Channel Tunnel.
Yes.
The British Prime Minister's been talking about this, and he got himself into some hot water over his choice of words. Was it a choice or was it a slip of the tongue? He called it a swarm of migrants. People saying this is rather dehumanising.
That's right, indeed. I suppose that the numbers do seem to be massing, and it is a crisis that is peaking, and it is, I suppose, understandable in a way that you try to find language to describe that, but maybe a bad choice of words, or was it a choice? Was it an accident? Who knows? In any case, you've got a swarm of people coming across the Mediterranean seeking a better life. Now, you have journalists. This is a journalist for the Huffington Post UK edition calling it appalling language and sentiment. You have the temporary head of the Labour Party, the interim leader, Harriet Harman, who said he's talking about people, not insects.
That is what you would say for a large group of insects, isn't it?
This is indeed if the dictionary definition. And the leader of the UK Green Party, Natalie Bennett, also saying that it's just inappropriate, really, to discuss desperate homeless human beings, including children. You also had, this is just a regular comment that I found on Twitter, saying, it's language that is similar to, a plague of locusts or whatever. In any case, it's dehumanizing. Now, I think one effort that was made by one publication to humanize or to put a human face on this phenomenon, it was Libération, or what they did, Libération, the left-leaning French daily. They actually, well, they didn't manage to have photos of each person, but they did put a name on the actual statistics, and you had some of them, they weren't able to find their names, but for many they were, and I think that helps to, I suppose, put a human face, so to speak, on what is quite a tragic situation. Exactly.
We have tended to talk in numbers, haven't we,
yes,
about these people. The British press, though, has been very critical of the French authorities.
Yes.
They're saying, come on, France, you're not really trying hard enough to stop these migrants getting into the tunnel.
That's right. I suppose, I mean, if you step back from it, it's a Europe-wide problem, but we see this kind of interstate bickering. We've seen it between Italy and France as well, down on the border in the south of France, with Italian authorities pointing the finger of blame at France. But here, in this particular case, there is a lot of criticism in some of the British papers. I think there's thoughtful analysis also, but you're getting headlines. Well, this is a UKIP MEP. Calais was British until 1558. Maybe it's time to take it back. I hope he's joking there, because that could be funny, or it could be offensive, depending on how you want to take it. This is the Daily Mail. France, it's your fault for being soft on migrants. So that is the tone of some of the coverage. The Sun, again, you'd almost wonder, are they being serious here? Because softy, Calais goes ballistic, Frenchies are atrocious. They sent some reporters to Calais, and they found a hole in the fence 300 metres from the entrance to the tunnel. Incredibly, the gap was photographed by the Sun back in 2002 and appears not to have been fixed. Now, I suspect it was fixed and probably breached on many occasions, but I think that particular that angle wasn't explored much by the Sun.
Indeed. Our reporter, James Andre, who's at Calais, has been telling us about how we're talking about 1,500 attempts to get into the tunnel. That might not, in fact, be 1,500 people.
Right.
Lots of people making lots of attempts. So hard, I think, to document exactly who's doing what and what the French authorities are doing.
To pick you up on that, that's the headline of one article in Le Monde. I try every day to get into England. And that is a quote from an Afghan guy. He's a 22-year-old. I think I have his name here. Alam Ahmadzai, who says, I try every day 2 or 3 times. So as you were saying, that I suppose corroborates what James Andre is saying, that it's people making multiple attempts every day. And what in this report as well in Le Monde, they spoke to a doctor who's on site. Now, he says really what you're seeing is a massive spike in the cases of people having puncture wounds, jumping from heights, etc., etc. A lot of an increase in these injuries since the month of June. Why? Because in June they erected a 6-metre fence along the perimeter of the highway leading up to the entrance to the tunnel. And as a result of that, people are taking greater risks at fewer possible access points, in particular around the entrance to the tunnel. So it means they have to scale greater heights, are more likely to have injuries, and it's at more dramatic points as well, such as the entrance to the tunnel. Even that very tragic situation where somebody at the Gare du Nord at the departure point tried to get on a train. Yeah. So I think it's not that the number of people has increased, it's just that the number of visible incidents and very serious incidents is increasing because the security, in fact, has been increased. So I think there's a lot of bad reporting, people saying there's no attempt to secure this situation. In fact, attempts have been made, and it's exacerbated the problem somewhat, but it's certainly not being ignored as a problem, I would say.
It's certainly interesting to see more of these details coming out from those reporters at the scene. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Catherine.
James Creedon, for taking us through that story on Media Watch.